10 years ago, if somebody would tell you that you were gonna run a licensed beverage business in UAE, what would you tell them?
I would tell them they're crazy. Alcohol globally is very restricted, and even more so restricted in Middle Eastern countries.
What it takes to start a business like this in United Arab Emirates?
Well, we are 100% online.
Yeah.
Once the app is installed on our customer's phone, it's like we are in their home.
What's the most expensive product you have here?
Here in the UAE, they expect things immediately. Now you are talking about a 10x increase in logistics costs.
Your past businesses, how did they prepare you for whatever you're running right now?
We developed an AI sommelier. That is not just an expert on wines, but basically an expert on every single of the 3,000 products that CityDrinks has. Much more than an alcohol company, we are a logistics company. It's in my blood to be very punctual. There's nowhere else in the UAE where you can find such a collection like ours.
This is Episode Up, your gateway to business, entrepreneurship, and innovation.
Welcome back to Episode Up. 10 years ago, nobody would believe that such a business could exist here in UAE, and now we're here. We are Kezad, a home of CityDrinks, the Middle East first and leading on-demand alcohol service delivery. What used to be an underground now is fully legal and a booming business. So what it takes for CityDrink to overcome challenges and regulations in order to make opportunity. Let's meet founder Dominic and talk about logistics, AI, and the future of the industry. Join the conversation and hopefully you can learn something today. Dominic, first of all, thank you for having us here. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
10 years ago, if somebody would tell you that you were gonna run a licensed beverage business in UAE, what would you tell them?
I would tell them they're crazy.
You couldn't imagine that?
No, absolutely not. I was in completely different industries. So I was a beverage enjoyer, but definitely would have never imagined being, standing where we are today.
Something like this, yeah. So how come? How come and why?
Well, we identified a gap in the market, specifically on the home delivery front. And basically one step led to the next. We basically found a way to do it better than everybody else.
You mentioned that you saw a gap in the market.
Yeah.
So how come is it? Are you always kind of tracking the signals, or you just was, you're living the life and so?
No, so it's more my personal experience here. So I've been in the UAE 9 years now.
Okay.
So like I guess most people, I had that WhatsApp number that you contact, and in 30 minutes they bring you the stuff, right?
Okay. Are we talking in this underground market?
Yeah, but the issue they were very fast, but they were also very expensive, right? And we looked at the licensed players in the market and what they were doing on that front, and they had shortcomings. So at best it was order today, get it tomorrow. We're in a very fast-paced market where everybody expects things right now. So we looked at more the instant delivery model as opposed to much slower-paced markets. There is also online beverage delivery services, but there you get it in 2 days, 3 days, and people are fine with it, right? But I feel a service like this here in the UAE, people wouldn't understand it simply because they expect things immediately.
So what are you building here? How everything looks like? How logistics behind the scenes looks like?
Yeah, sure. So, this is our entire mothership, the warehouse, right? And we split it up in several different sections. So here behind us, we have long-term storage. Whenever product arrives, it gets inbounded by our team and it gets basically stored here. Here we we are going into our picking area. And yeah, it's resembles a little bit a store.
Yeah.
We prefer to group products per category, so red wines with red wines, beers with beers, because this way our pickers already know where to.
I guess
where to
they
go.
can blindfold that kind of
At this
navigate the
this
area.
point, yeah, I would love to actually run a test with some of our guys. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what aisle do you have to go
Yeah,
to get this
three
product?
steps front, left, you are in, I don't know, white wine.
Yes, exactly. So orders come in, gets picked, and then reaches our packing area. You want to be transporting as much product as possible
Yeah.
per square centimeter, so to say, right? So we're constantly evaluating, changing our delivery box sizes in order to optimize space.
I see the guy putting like a present in the box. What is that?
For first-time customers, they get a little
really?
welcome gift.
Can I see?
Yeah, sure. So packaging.
What's inside?
Usually we give little accessories like branded accessories, bottle openers.
Can I see the box as well?
Yeah, sure.
So what did you include?
So inside, we always put little flyers, depending on what promotion we have going on at the time to keep our customers informed.
Interesting point. It looks like you're pushing an app.
Yes. Well, we are 100% online.
Yeah.
Once the app is installed on our customer's phone, it's like we are in their home.
In the pocket,
In
always.
the pocket. We really designed it to be app-based, even though we have a website
browser, yeah.
and both are connected.
What would you say was the, let's say, ratio between website and the app right now?
80-20 approximately. So it's just the navigation experience is a lot better. Like for example, see, this is like one of our beer openers, so we really nice, good quality.
Where did you make it?
In China, of course.
Yeah.
Now in China you can get everything top quality. This one's for you. You can keep it.
Okay. Yeah. So were you saying 20% still website browser, but the goal is to minimize the website as much as possible and have orders through the app.
And nowadays everybody uses phones, right, for everything.
Yeah.
I would say the website, you maybe have a better browsing experience. Majority of our customers, they know what they want. They have to be able to find it and check it out as quickly and efficiently as possible. I'm sure you noticed it's pretty chilly.
Yeah, I want to say, and the crew as well, they arrived here, I'm like, oh yeah, it will be a little chilly, yeah.
Well, that's because we maintain the entire warehouse at 12 degrees. This is basically the sweet spot where we found for most alcoholic beverages. Well, champagnes have the lowest, which is 5 degrees. This is our fridges. Then beers, you can move up to like 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. And then wines, can go up to like 15 degrees or so in order to avoid oxidation to happen or further fermentation of the product to occur.
Yeah.
So, here we keep, in no particular order, most of our spark.
Yeah.
For us, it's also very important that the customers receive the products ready to drink.
Okay.
I always found it to be like an amazing experience, when I, let's say, receive a drink at home and it's chilled. It also shows like attention to detail and our efforts on the logistics front.
So I have to ask, what's the most expensive product you have here?
What is the most expensive product? If you want, I can show you.
Yeah.
It's so we have a tequila, the Adelita, and I think it is somewhere around 26,000.
For a bottle?
Yeah. Well, 1 second. I will pull it out. I will need your help. There we go. So
Let's
see, it comes in like a beautiful silver bottle, like real silver bottle.
what you said? Around 20?
I think it's around 26,000 dirhams, yes.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
Every weekend somebody ordering.
Yeah, I wish. I wish. No, then we have we have also Macallan, 30 years old.
What it makes the drink or the bottle or the brand unique that they can position themselves in this luxury category?
History. History is a big one. So, for example, take Macallan, right? One of the oldest whiskey distillers ever. As well, an exceptional product, right? At all ranges. So it's synonym with quality, luxury, just like a Rolex is. There's a big collector community in the UAE because a lot of people have bars in their villas, and you want to make the bar look as nice as possible, and you want to show off to your friends a little bit. So by having unique products that are not easily accessible, well, now you have a story to tell.
Interesting.
We have the biggest beer collection in the world. Maybe we can circle to it over there, because that's something we are quite proud of.
Okay. That's like maybe selling point.
It is a unique selling point because since we are 100% online and we don't have physical shops, doesn't necessarily need to look pretty. It just needs to get to our customers in time, right? So for any brick and mortar store to match our beer selections, they would have anywhere between 30 to 50 SKUs on the beer front.
Okay.
We have 250 approximately, right? So if to have 250, your whole store will be filled with beer cans,
beer store.
right? This is like the low-hanging fruit that we saw within the industry is simply that the beer assortment that's available in the market is extremely to dominate for us if we make an effort. So all the beers that we have, we import them ourselves. So what we do is we consolidate the shipments in Europe and then ship over a container. And when we first had the idea of doing that and we spoke with other market participants, what they told us is like, we tried it, it didn't work.
You mean to have this variety?
Yeah, to have such a wide variety. What we realized is that maybe when they tried, it was too early. So we had this idea at the right time, because some of our beers are selling more than your staples. If you are looking for something different, there's nowhere else in the UAE where you can find such a collection like ours.
Anything unique you have here that nobody can find anywhere else?
Well, here we have La Chouffe, very, very popular, fantastic beer.
Okay. Where is it from?
La Chouffe, Belgium.
Okay, Belgium.
Yeah. So most of them are Belgian beers, but we are now looking at also further expanding our range even more. Yes. We are all about expanding our customers' palates, so to get them to try new interesting things as well. What we do is like tasting sets of these maybe lesser known beers. What we see in alcohol is that people have a limited budget and limited intake capacity. So for their budget and their intake capacity, they want to be satisfied. That's why people are creatures of habit, because they don't want to spend the money and risk having a bad experience. This is where we try to allow our customers to experience, but for a lower cost, so to say. More variety. This way you don't have to get a whole 6-pack and trash the other 5 bottles because you didn't like it. You can get a 6-pack with 6 different bottles.
I think I saw on the website bundles. So we spoke about categories, expensive, or the variety. Part of your most important business element is logistics.
Absolutely, yes. Much more than an alcohol company, we are a logistics company. So ultimately, it wouldn't really matter what we are shipping, because the engine that powers the whole operation is our logistics, right? So we use a variety of different vehicles, types. So we have vans.
Train, here is a train. What is that?
These are orders that are coming in.
And that's
So it's, yeah.
so where you sit and in the office and you keep hearing that, like,
Yeah.
it's good. Today is a good day.
Exactly.
Got it. So
exactly.
that's the sound of the, not the money cha-ching, but
We actually thought of doing
Yeah?
the cha-ching sound, but
got it.
we
Okay.
kept it like that.
That's nice.
We have a really complex logistics system. For it to work, all the pieces need to align and work in synchronicity.
If you look from the outside, well, what is it? You know, you pick, you put in the box.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah,
super simple, but obviously.
yeah, but at scale you need a system, right? Because otherwise, if it's too random, then you can't. So something we experience is you go through periods, especially in the very beginning, of inefficiency.
Oh! things happening.
Yeah, these are warehouse things.
Exactly.
So basically, you go through periods of inefficiency. So when you have very few orders, you basically have to send a courier to do like call it a star pattern of delivery, right?
Optimized kind of.
But with more orders, then what happens is the operation becomes more efficient, because instead of sending one courier to 5 different areas, you can only dispatch him to one area, and then for the courier to make multiple deliveries within a short radius, right?
The more customers, the better you kind of can serve them.
Yes.
Today is a Friday. I keep hearing that.
Today is Friday. Fridays are our most busy days.
Okay. Yeah.
So, well, that's normal. That a Friday is busier than a Monday, right?
We're talking right now, and once I arrive in this country, let's say, at least back in the days, was the habit. You go once a month or whatever in a quarter,
Yeah.
buy, store, and you will always have.
Yeah.
Now you guys changing that.
Yeah, and we're changing the I would say not necessarily consumption patterns, but more the purchasing patterns of customers. So because it's convenient and you can get it the same day. What we also see is living space in UAE is kind of shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Developers are optimizing, right? So you don't have that much room anymore in your kitchen, right? Like now, if you want a case of beer, you don't have too many places to store it. Maybe under the bed, who knows, right? But this way, now, people need to order less quantity, just simply more often. But see, from a business standpoint, that's also counterintuitive, because we would prefer customers to purchase more at once, right? So this is where we constantly need to play with the minimum order quantities, that just in order for us not to deliver to one customer every single day, because this is inefficient. It's stress on the operation, right? We prefer to deliver to a customer once a week, for example. He has what he needs, and we'll see him next week again. We have 2 offices. So here we have mainly our dispatching.
I see this guy making pinpoints on the maps.
Yeah,
what is it?
all what you're seeing are orders. For them, it's almost like a bit of a video game.
Yeah.
Where, hey, I need to make sure that I allocate the orders to the right courier and make sure that the order gets delivered on time. Because there's no point overloading a courier if the last 2 to be delivered late.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the way we judge our entire operation is by our late rate. So right now we have a sub 7% late rate.
So this is like something that you promise?
The way our service works is we have time slots that you can select. So call it 6 to 7 p.m.
Yeah, okay.
So our promise is to deliver between 6 and 7 p.m. At 7:001, we are late.
It's a late,
right?
Pinging as a late in the system.
I grew up in Switzerland, where usually things are very much on time. Like if a train is late, by a minute, like you usually get an announcement that an apology, like, "Hey, sorry, we are 1 minute late." So
Okay, really?
it's in my blood to be very punctual, and this is kind of how we try to translate it into the business as well.
All right.
Then we have our customer service department. In the event that we are running late, there's some issue. Well, it is their job to make sure that the customer's expectations are, let's say, managed, as well as to try and build a little bit of that personal relationship with our customers.
Yeah.
Being fully online, right? It's difficult to make that human connection, as opposed to, welcoming someone in your store, having that conversation with them.
It looks like you're paying a lot of attention to that because there's a big team. I cannot notice that the shelf of
the vapes. Yeah. So see, what we look for as well is to offer a lot of complementary products to alcohol, glassware, of course, bottle openers, accessories. The idea with vapes was, hey, maybe some of our customers also vape, right? So now you can buy 2 of your favorite products at CityDrinks, right? Yeah. So it's not a major revenue stream, but hey, it's available.
So it's not about the business or the profit; it's more about please the customer.
Absolutely.
And for convenience.
Yeah. We want to stay as close to our core product offering as possible. So things that are related to alcohols. You might like to eat some chips, finger food. With a beer, right? So these are the types of products that we are looking at adding. We recently added caviar. We had the idea to launch it during Valentine's Day, like a caviar and champagne bundle. We saw, we sold quite a lot of these bundles. So we're like, hey, why not expand the whole caviar range? Now we hold maybe 6 different types of caviar.
Okay.
And it's not a fast mover, but at least now the customers can also, it's a little upsell, right? One of our biggest challenges, so to say, is to try to bridge that experience that customers have when they go to a physical store. And one of the ways we thought of doing that was, through the use of AI. And more specifically, we developed an AI sommelier. That is not just an expert on wines, but basically an expert on every single of the 3,000 products that CityDrinks has. Normally, when people go into the store, a good store experience, you have a very knowledgeable sales person, especially when it comes to wines. The storytelling is very important in order to convince you, get your palate going, right? And just get you excited about why is this wine special. Right? When you have such a wide catalog like we have, it can be a little daunting for certain customers. We basically, built on top of OpenAI. So OpenAI is quite a versatile LLM that you can train on specific data. We trained it on sets of data relating to the alcohol industry and most importantly on our own catalog.
It's on the website or the app?
It's on both.
Oh, can I try it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have app yet, but...
Here we go. So we chose quite a central position for it, as we're quite proud of it. So, okay, it starts, your wish is my command. How can I help you? So what would you be in the mood to drink tonight?
All right. Me personally, if I can, I don't know a lot about wines.
You prefer red or white?
Yeah, red. So just
just select red.
Okay.
And there you go.
Okay, great choice. We found a couple of sweet red wines that might tickle your taste buds. Okay. So that's linked straight away to your basically store, yeah.
And you
you
can already have some options.
Is it good to have or must to have right now in the business? How come this idea came to?
Well, I think we are now at the very early days of AI. So the progression I see is that pretty much every single e-commerce store will have an AI agent. This is also something that can be branched out to any restaurant, because to have actually a trained sommelier, it first costs a lot of money. Second of all, typically the sommelier, when he approaches a table, can usually only has an interaction with one person. If there was an AI, everybody could simply scan, put their own personal preferences in it, and within 20 seconds, 30 seconds, they could get recommended by the glass the wine that is best for them.
Yeah, true. Do you think it helps to sell, or it just helps to educate and kind of build brand loyalty?
I think it's more educational. So from the data, it's we have a small number of customers that actually end up using our AI. Most customers know what they want to drink, and it's very difficult to convince someone to try something new. Through the AI is kind of where we try to help our customers broaden their preferences, so to say.
All right, so I think this interview will be fairly quick. 12 degrees Celsius weather will not gonna allow us to chat too long, but it's nothing bad, yeah. And I guess we need to do disclaimer that this coffee is now without whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers for the coffee, yeah. I want to start the conversation with the question, as this industry, I assume, is highly regulated. Mm-hmm. What it takes to start a business like this in United Arab Emirates?
Well, first of all, a lot of due diligence. You really need to understand the legal, let's say, framework and landscape that we are in, mm-hmm. right? It took about 8 months from the moment we got our trade license mm-hmm. until we sold our first drink. So what happened during those 8 months? Well, the licensing process, it's very thorough. It starts by securing a warehouse. You need to fit it out with security camera systems, with air conditioning systems, with electrical wiring, because it was bare bones, right? Usually just here in UAE, you just get shell and core. So all of that takes a tremendous amount of time, right? Then fulfilling all of the different requirements that the government has from you. So, of course, they do background checks on the owners.
Is this something extra because of the industry?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Because again, it is highly regulated. So what we secured was 2 licenses, actually. One, it's the import and distribution license. So this license allows us to import our own products. This license for us was not a requirement. We got it in order to be in control of our own destiny, not to rely on other importers and basically be call it delivery boys for them and their product. A lot of the big importers are in partnership with different brands, and those brands, for example, also come with certain restrictions of not working with competing brands. That results in a narrow product selection or availability. We wanted to do the complete opposite, was to open the market up to all sorts of interesting brands that want to be in the UAE. Second, we got our online license, a specific license in order to be able to sell alcohol online and deliver to customers' homes. Again, a lot of requirements. The main one, I would say, is the ID verification. You can only purchase alcohol if you are 21 years or older in the UAE, right? And then every time we deliver, someone over 21 has to present their ID to our courier.
Also, same person?
Doesn't have to be the same person, just someone over 21.
Okay.
So this is the legal requirement that we had to do. So we found the leading artificial intelligence ID verification, and we integrated with them directly in our platforms. It's maybe a little tedious for the customer to do this process. However, us as a company, it's really keeping us safe. Not just to sell to minors, which is really not the case that we see even minors trying to register, but more from fraud. You know, people that
Fraudulent transactions.
use cards that are not their own, and then this results in losses. The company doesn't get the money, but you lost the product.
Because you shipped.
It's gone.
You said like from the moment you acquired the warehouse and the moment you started to actually operating it, it was 8 months.
We had an idea it would take anywhere, like 6 months approximately, and it dragged on. But whenever you set up a business, you know, you should have your baseline, and then you should have like a good buffer to the upside, because costs are gonna hit you left and right that you could never have financially planned for in the beginning.
There was a moment that you start operating and the challenges or struggles, and you like saying like, I still have a runway for just a couple months or so. I don't know. Is there was a point of?
No, because we came into this business with a 5-year, let's say, call it a 5-year plan. It's too big of a business to think short term. We are also fully self-funded. Like before we pulled the trigger on the business, there was at least 1 year of due diligence from our side, and this is where we try to evaluate as much as we can. And luckily, you know, looking back at it, our financial forecasts, we actually hit very close month over month, like what we were expecting, especially in terms of sales. Gave ourselves a little pat on the back, because we're like, hey, the days and hours that we spent modeling this, actually, we were correct.
Yeah, but that forecasting, I guess, comes with experience.
It does, yeah, of course.
Your past businesses, how did they shape you or prepared you for whatever you're running right now?
I've been an entrepreneur from quite early on. My first entrepreneurial venture business was when I was 21 years old, still in university. I set up a watch trading company, right? So that was like first time setting up a website, organizing marketing, organizing staff, organizing stock, you know, a different product, still needs to deal with the
same base,
the same base, right? So just trying one business after another, growing, certain went up, certain failed. You learn the most from the failures, of course. So I'm almost 35 years old today. So starting at 21, I have already, you know, it's not the years, it's the miles, as they say, as well. My partners with who I run the business, they also come from totally different backgrounds, different ways of looking at things. This is the strength that we also have, is that no matter the differences we have and the different perspectives, is we manage together to find the best possible solution between the three of us and agree upon it.
You mentioned partners. I guess it's very important in scale of the business and everything. How did you meet them? What was the history?
By I would say coincidence, through another business of mine. We got to know each other as people. Around this idea, we sort of rallied around. You never know, a partnership is like a marriage, right? It can work for you, or the early days might be wonderful, the later days not so much. You need to manage a partnership the same way you do manage a relationship. You have to always talk. You shouldn't ever keep things in, let them build into something, because then it can become like an onion that at the end it explodes, and you don't even know why it got to that point.
So basically you had the history with them. What was a call, and Dominic calls them and like, hey, I have idea.
Actually, it was one of my partners. He called me and he's like, hey Dom, I'm thinking about this alcohol thing, you know, and we looked into it. And see, the thing is, once you start the due diligence process, you start to form a vision. right? And the vision, the more you research, the more the vision becomes clear. We were getting answers without even knowing it, starting to already set the building blocks and the foundation of what the business would be. We want to do it online, we want to deliver to people's home. Before you know it, it's like, okay, we have something here, something special, where we believe we have a competitive advantage. But yeah, any competitive advantage over a long enough period of time dissipates, because your competitors are going to start looking at what you're doing. I believe what we have done is we change the game by making same-day delivery, or even call it instant delivery. Delivery speed in logistics is the biggest barrier to entry or competitive advantage, because to deliver next day is very easy. Batch a lot of orders with one courier is very efficient, right? But then let's say to go from next day delivery to same day delivery, all of a sudden now you pretty much need to double your logistics cost in order to accommodate that. From same day to call it 6 hours, it's probably a triple or quadruple. But where it gets really interesting is in the very small time frames, because to go, let's say, from 1 hour to 30 minutes, now you are talking about a 10x increase in logistics costs. So what we see the big guys doing, Amazon, Noon, with the 15-minute delivery, I mean, this is the cost from them to have gone from 30 minutes to 15 minutes is, I don't know, 30x, 50x, possibly.
From your eyes, when you're saying, I see it's like it's sparkling, you're like excited.
Yeah.
Wow, how much effort you need to do from 30 to 15.
Yeah, of course.
I want to get back a little bit back to your, three founders. Tell me about your decision and the choice, because you became, let's say, face of the brand. If that was intentional, did they agree, or this is your own initiative?
Yeah, I'm the prettiest one of the group, the most handsome one, I would say. You guys are gonna love that one. But I was always comfortable as being on the front, so to say, through my other experiences. I don't mind talking with people. I don't mind, doing the public relations side of things. We don't step on each other's toes, so to say. Everyone has their own key area of, let's say, responsibility.
I want to link that as well to, I think I was reading an interview or somewhere that you said, our company is a founder-led.
Yeah, so...
What do you mean by that,
Well, founder-led, well, it's in our industry, what we also saw is that a lot of our competitors, they are employee-led companies. So you have some shareholders in the background, maybe doing a yearly, quarterly review, but led by their employees. You have a very different sort of motivation if you are an owner running your business, right? We can take risk without the fear of losing our jobs. This allowed us to really, when we needed to pivot, change certain aspects of our business overnight when we needed it. So to be reactive is a huge advantage. However, it's very important to also be able to delegate, because if you cannot find the right people to run your business for you, you will be a slave to your company, right? The first 2-3 years, it's very important to install the culture, install the right processes and the right people, coach them, train them to do things the way you would have done them.
Business should work for you, you should not work for business.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you mean by that?
I'm still young, right? And as much as I love this warehouse, I also want to be able to spend time with my family. I have a 3-year-old daughter, which, I want to be there to see her grow up, to enjoy these moments rather than be the father that, was always at work, gone, not there. It's a huge luxury to be able to call it work for your business, but have your business work for you.
Sales and marketing.
All right.
Things were set up and stuff, and it's time now to
Yeah, so
bring the orders.
Sales and marketing. So in our industry, we are very limited by what we can do. So unfortunately, I cannot put a big billboard on the highway, hey, CityDrinks alcohol, right?
Can you tell me more about what kind of restrictions you have?
Well, already alcohol globally is very restricted, and even more so restricted in Middle Eastern countries, right? So the channels that are available to you are extremely narrow or inexistent. That, for example, radio, for example, here in the UAE, we cannot advertise on the radio alcohol. It doesn't even have to be alcohol. We can't even advertise our service.
Why you have the marketing manager? What his what kind of marketing activities he does?
Within all of these restrictions, we also look for out-of-the-box, non-standard ways to let our potential customers know that we exist.
So what are the methods that you guys try that it works?
I would say social media. Everyone has Instagram. Everyone has, X, Twitter.
Yeah.
So we try to reach our customers where they are. And on these platforms is where we've had pretty good success.
So can you advertise on social media, I don't know, specific brand, the beer? Or?
No. This is restricted, but we can advertise CityDrinks, the beverage delivery company.
As a service?
As a service. Most of your traditional channels are not working. So branded vehicles, for example. Right, branding, we ask our couriers to check with first-time customers if they have the opportunity to ask them where the customer heard from CityDrinks, because for us it's very important data, the first-hand information where the customer ever heard about us. So one is social media, but the biggest is my friend told me, in any business, it's the most powerful marketing tool you can have. One happy customer refers you 3 of his friends, then they refer you 3 of their friends, as opposed to one unhappy customer. Instead of, bringing 3 of his friends, he's gonna tell 10 of his friends.
Yeah. Don't use that.
How dissatisfied he was. So we do our utmost to try and have satisfied customers.
We spoke about ratio of website and mobile app usage. What about B2B with B2C market?
So in our business, there's the 2 sides, right? The B2C and B2B on trade. So that would be us selling to hotels and restaurants. Spent about 6 months trying to get the B2B business going, but it's a very, let's say, political. A lot of restaurants are contractually locked in to buy from one particular supplier. Others, there isn't like singular decision-making points. In the B2B, it is a standard that venues are basically financed by the alcohol distributors, where they get quite long credit terms. So you as the supplier, you deliver the product, they consume the product, and then they pay you in 60 to 90 days. So us as a startup, we are not in the position to finance someone else's business. We need to finance ourselves first.
Once you step in this market, you already understood that's
No, that was actually one of the misconceptions that we had, where we were very eager and very excited, but with the B2B, we were not getting the feedback and the results were not interesting. It's not worth our time and energy to try and develop the B2B. So we don't need to be everywhere. we decided to focus on what we are the strongest in, which is, delivering beverages to customers' home as quickly as possible.
I want to understand the moment when you realized that, oh shit, it works.
The oh shit, it works moment was, the first one was when we got our first order, for example. We just opened, we went live.
Yeah.
And within a couple hours, the first order came in. I remember it was to a lady, a Russian lady. And we were so excited, I went to do the delivery myself, of course, we gave her a bottle of champagne.
Really?
As a congratulations, you're our first customer. But it's like, her order came in, 10 minutes later, another order came in, half an hour later, another order came in, and we're like, it's
Yes.
happening,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
How
How did they discover that?
how did they discover that? It's a good question. It was through social media, because we just launched our we were doing like a countdown, like, hey, opening in 10 days, 9 days, so I
So
guess
it's like awareness that
Awareness,
something is
yeah.
happening. Okay.
Yeah.
And then open and boom.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's harder is to start the business or scale the business? And where are you right now?
You can't scale the business without starting it, right? You're never 100% ready, but what I recommend, and what we did as well, is launch as soon as you possibly can, even if everything's not perfect, because being a perfectionist is stopping you from going. So for us is, we were waiting on our license to be approved. The platform was being developed, and we woke up one morning, license is approved. We were absolutely not ready to go live. There were bugs everywhere, but what I pushed for was like, let's just go and basically build the plane while we're in the air. It's no longer theoretical, it's hands-on, right? So starting is, I recommend just go as soon as you possibly can. For scaling, you also have different phases of scaling, right? You're accumulating customers, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have like a step up, and then accumulating, and then boom. So what we constantly need to do is to stay ahead of the demand that we have, and the bigger the scale, the bigger the cost. So for us to scale efficiently has been our biggest challenge. How do you justify adding 10 more couriers when the per courier efficiency is low, for example?
But it hurts basically your expenses if you scale too much without being ready.
You shouldn't be too far ahead of of your anticipated demand or overestimate. But see, underestimating also has its own consequences, because then late orders, dissatisfied customers. As soon as we see that the late rate starts to increase, this usually is the signal for us, hey, okay, we need to scale.
It looks like the late rate for you is a strong measurement. What you need to do, should you scale or still fix and carry on logistics?
Late rate is everything for us, because if you are not delivering in the promised time, that means that you are misleading your customers.
Work-life balance. How does a Dominic's work-life balance look like?
Better now. So it's something I actively work on as well, because work is not everything, right? I have a family. I want to be present, see my daughter grow up. You have the first year of our operation, but then you have the year before that, right? So I would say 2 years was every day, morning to evening, thinking, figuring things out, right? Now that things are becoming systematic a little bit, this allows to take a step back. I try to balance this. I go to the gym. I think it's also important for your mental clarity, so to say. I personally like to go in the morning. I like to get the adrenaline out in the morning, because again, when you are making decisions, important ones, you should leave emotions out of it. your emotions throughout the day, they fluctuate throughout, depending on the information that is coming into your mind, right? But I feel that going to the gym, for example, reduce the highs and reduce the lows of my emotions. So by being less emotional when problems happen, you can much quicker get to a solution.
Did you keep time for the hobbies?
Yeah. I mean, my favorite hobby is traveling. With my family, we make new memories, new experiences, just, completely switch off. Like, for me, the biggest luxury is to do nothing and for nobody to ask me anything. Go to like Maldives for 10 days and I try to leave my phone in the safe, right?
Just locker without reception.
Yeah, like this, So that for example, is something I value a lot, to be able and experience the world as well, right?
So, non-alcoholic beverage industry.
Yeah.
How does it, let's say, impacting your industry? And then we can talk about the future of your business and the industry itself.
When it comes to non-alcoholic beverages, we tried, but the CityDrinks customers are not non-alcoholics. And certain companies specialize on that niche and are doing a great job at it. It comes down to, you gotta pick the battles you wanna fight and preferably win. We don't see as going into that particular segment as being something that, again, is worth our time and energy. There's not really something that we could do magnitudes better. When we try to do something better, bam, it has to be impactful, and just like what we did with our beer selection.
CityDrinks, how are you gonna look like in 5 years?
We love to keep dreaming, and so we are trying to stay at the latest developments, cutting edge in terms of technology, logistics, artificial intelligence. Soon, maybe we're gonna have some robots, but today the problem is the cost is too high compared to having humans.
Yeah.
We are focused on conquering the UAE, so establishing our presence, establishing our way of doing things here. We are looking, maybe down the road, expansion into other markets, either be it ourselves or by basically franchising our model, because surprisingly enough, a lot of people come to the UAE and they discover our service, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, hey, this is great. We don't have this back home, So franchising is a better model because it requires less capital and, let's say, effort from your side. You just give the blueprint, the capital requirements to the franchisee, and they deliver you support, right? So it's a more scalable way of expanding, call it your business or your brand. So far we are well on track for our initial 5-year plan. Let us complete that, and maybe in 4 years' time, let's sit down again and see what next.
To close our conversation, we were gonna try something new, rapid fire questions. So I drop a question and you try to answer in few words, as short as possible. Your business philosophy in 3 words.
Reliability, speed, customer experience.
In general, biggest challenges for startups here in UAE?
Evaluating your costs.
I thought you were gonna say banking, but...
Banking is easy. Licensing is easy. Figuring out all the unforeseen costs. Every entrepreneur I talk to here in the UAE, they all tell me, I never thought it was gonna be this expensive to get set up.
Best networking spot in UAE?
Best spot.
Spot or best way to network?
Best way to network through your own network.
One quality every entrepreneur should have. I like it because it makes think.
It's so cold. I have the thing, but I can't.
Our brains are freezed. Yeah, that's for sure.
Relentlessness.
Relentlessness.
Yeah, where you never stop.
First thing you do in the morning?
Brush my teeth.
Better than me, social media.
I try not to touch my phone, go to bed without the screen, and wake up without the screen. It's usually, the world will wait.
We spoke about what's harder, starting or scaling?
Scaling is harder because scaling is continuous, starting is momentary.
Love it. One founder you would love to have a dinner with? Should I say one founder you would love to have a beer with?
Elon Musk,
Beer or wine?
wine.
Last question. We have a Dubai chocolate. What would be the name of Abu Dhabi drink?
Date whiskey.
There you go. Date whiskey. I love it. I like it. Yeah. Cool. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it. That was really nice to listen to the story, and hopefully, yeah, we can catch up soon and see how things scaling.
Yeah, of course.
And we are officially called. Woo! If you're not gonna ask, you already have an answer no. So I'm asking, please guys share, like and subscribe. Share with somebody that you think gonna benefit from this episode. And speaking about today's episode with Dominic, I really related to the fact that he mentioned the quote, pick your battles, the ones that you're most likely gonna win. Sometimes I think as well I need to rethink my strategy and the emotion in my business and pick my battles that I could most likely win. So, entrepreneurship is a long-term game, so be relentless and most likely you're gonna achieve things that you never imagined. See you next time guys in another episode.